It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to this elementary edition of Science Bowl. See if you can come up with our answers with our 6 scholars today. Let's meet them right now. First from Avalon Elementary, please welcome to our program Miss Ariana Elmore, Mr. Jonathan LeGrant, and Miss Jamisha Norman. And from Berwyn Heights, we say hello to Miss Marianne McCloskey, Miss T-Day Bello, and Mr. Kai Willis. And now, here are the categories of questions we use on Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to the difficulty of the questions, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10 points, and the tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out with 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. Into the 2 rounds today, we will have a competitor for Rockledge Elementary School, and then perhaps movement on to the semifinals and finals of our elementary competition. So we want to make sure everything's working properly. Let's go to Avalon. You've all got your hands on the buzzer. Could you push it for me? Thank you, guys. A group push there from Ariana and Jonathan and Jamisha. And T-Day, would you push yours for us? Thank you. Seems to be working just fine. Good luck to you, to Marianne, and to Kai. Are we ready?
Yes.
Let's have a good game. May the better team win. We go alphabetically A before B. So Avalon, would you start our game? Jonathan, give me a category and a number.
Zoo Parade for 5.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, after he got Captain Hook's hand and his watch, what reptile came back for the rest of him? Avalon.
Alligator.
Or crocodile. Yes, we would take either one. Right. Absolutely. Good. Red.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, thinking they were gone forever, a group of California botanists recently discovered a kind of California daisy that now has been taken off what list? Avalon.
The extinct list?
Not the extinct list. Give me more information.
Endangered.
Endangered list. That's right. The endangered species list. That's what we were after. Go red.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, what part of the pelvis is said to be the part where you are joined with your very best friend? Avalon.
Hip.
Your hip. You are joined at the hip with your very best friend. There was even a movie like that with Matt Damon. I forget the other actor. They were literally joined at the hip. All right, Red, go.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, the United States is running out of this up and away gas. Avalon. Helium, yeah, that we associate with those big balloons in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade when SpongeBob comes down 5th Avenue. All right, go Red.
Science Potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams, if you were lucky enough to have an Uncle Milty's ant farm as a toy, you know that the ants didn't come with it. You had to send away for the ants. The only ants you got were workers because it is against the law to ship across state lines. What kind of regal ant? Avalon.
Termite. Termites?
Not termite, no. What kind of regal ant cannot be shipped across state lines, which is why all you get are workers for your ant farm?
Queen.
The queen, that's right. There are no queens ever sent. So in order to replenish your ant farm, you got to send away and spend some more money. Maybe that was part of the marketing. Okay, nice answer, Berwyn Heights. You're on the board. Go, T-Day.
Dateline Science for 5.
Dateline for 5 points. Teams, your answer is as follows. What kind of wintry precipitation became the prefix, Avalon?
Snow.
Snow, yes. I was going to go for Snowmageddon, a prefix for Armageddon, after all those storms we had in the January and February of 2010. Go, Avalon.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. The #1 perfume that has ever been made is Chanel No. 5. It contains the essence of thousands of jasmine flowers, plus the oils from this flower that is probably best known for its thorns. Avalon.
Rose.
Roses, yes. The attar, the oil of roses, goes into the making of Chanel No. 5. Oh, it even sounds good, doesn't it? Go, Red.
Zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Teams, if something should never be touched or tampered with, it is named for these bovines that are sacred in India. Berwyn Heights. What are sacred in India? Yes, ma'am. Avalon. What are the sacred bovines in India that lend themselves to the phrase that you should never tamper with some things?
Boa constrictor.
Cows, sacred cows. A sacred cow is something you should never touch. Leave it alone. Go, Red. Again, please.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, it is a beating cardiac organ that is the horror, Avalon.
Heart.
The heart in Edgar Allan Poe's story, The Telltale Heart. The protagonist keeps hearing a heart beating under the floorboards that really isn't there. Go, Red.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. Look at the monitor, please, in the studio, if you would. According to mythology, Daedalus gave his son Icarus wings to fly, but Icarus got too bold and flew too close to the sun. His wings fell off because, Avalon?
Made of wax.
They were made of wax. That's right. I was going to tell you that there's an oily substance that's found in your ear and also in candles that melted as he got closer to the very hot sun. Nicely done, Jonathan. Go, Red.
Let's get physical for 10.
Is it physical 4? 10 points. Teams, there's a sculptor in Montgomery County who recently had dozens of his sculptures stolen because they were made of bronze. You see, bronze is 95% of this metal symbolized Cu, which is now very valuable, Avalon.
Copper.
Copper, that's right. People are stealing copper piping, anything that is made of copper because they can sell it for lots of money right now. So sculptors are learning their lesson. All right, the buzzer is rung. We've come to the end of the first round. Our score, Berwyn Heights 55, Avalon 115. We'll be back with more Science Bowl in just a moment. Don't you go away. And we welcome you back to Science Bowl. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. 6 scholars here today, young people who do extraordinarily well in school. They're here representing their schools. Let's find out about them and their schools. Let's go first to Avalon, making their 3rd appearance this school year. Jonathan and Jamisha and Ariana, nice to have you all back. You're wearing your school uniform, aren't you, Jonathan?
Yes.
Tell us about your school. Where is it?
It's near Fort Washington.
Yeah, it's down in the southern part of the county. And who's your principal?
Dr. Diane Bruce.
Wonderful. And I know Miss Mercy Alzate is your sponsor. And I think there was someone else with her today. Who is that?
Miss Boxley.
Right, and we'll be bringing both of them out. Miss Alzate, you know, this is only the 2nd year we've seen Avalon in our 25-year history, and it was worth the wait. You guys are just terrific. Tell me about yourself, Jonathan. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to draw and play video games.
Video games. You're a very disciplined young man, and I know you come from a military family. You told me your dad was an engineer, an aeronautical engineer. He also was a policeman, and you'd like to follow in his footsteps.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful. I know how proud he must be of you. Jamisha, nice to have you here, a young lady who is so comfortable on camera because she does the same thing at Avalon. You're like the news person there, aren't you?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. And tell us what you want to do when you get older.
I want to go to Harvard, and then I want to be an artist.
An artist, yeah.
I want to make either pottery, or I want to take a human head and mash it with the animal body.
And of course, we were talking earlier, you don't mean that literally. You mean that as a pottery, as a sculpture, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Yeah, you can, people have personalities that are sometimes like animals, and if someone is kind of crafty, you can put them on the head of on the body of a fox or something like that. That's very smart. Nice to have you back. Ariana, nice to have you back with us. You like to do lots of different things. Tell us what you do in your spare time.
Well, I like to read and I like to rollerblade.
Yeah, and we talked earlier, and she does protect herself. She wears a helmet when she rollerblades. What do you want to do when you get older?
Well, I want to be a scientist, an inventor, and a chemist.
And a chemist. What would you like to invent? You got some ideas?
Well, mostly I really don't know. I just want to invent.
It'll come to you, right? You'll get a flash of genius someday, and the next thing we'll have our new, those segways that you ride. You can ride, I'm sure he just thought of that, and you can see what it did for him. Dean Kane was his name. All right, let's go over to Berwyn Heights. Berwyn Heights last year did so well, they were able to skip the preliminary rounds of our competition, but all of you are here for the very first time. You're not returning players, so the advantage is for the school, but not you individually. Berwyn Heights, near Greenbelt and Lanham. Who's your principal, T-Day?
Dr. Karen Singer.
Wonderful. And she, of course, has been at that school ever since it reopened because it had been closed and renovated for a long time. And I know music is very important at Berwyn Heights. And that holds true for you and Marianne especially because you play what, T-Day?
Viola.
Viola. I know Marianne plays the viola and the piano both. Kai is not musically inclined, but he's got other talents as well. We'll find out about those in just a second. T-Day, tell me, were there any alternates on your team?
Erica Martin and Jordan Epps.
Wonderful. We'll bring those out, and we'll bring out any alternates from the Avalon team as well, who I neglected to mention earlier, but we will bring them out too so we can honor them along with the sponsors. Your sponsor today is Mr. Brett Goldstein, and he is just so dedicated. He's wearing a matching shirt like you guys are today. He is a great Science Bowl supporter and teacher. We appreciate all his efforts, just as we do Miss Elzate's. Tell me what you want to do when you get older, T-Day.
I want to be an artist.
An artist, yes. So you have something in common with Jamisha over here. You're a creative kind of person. Painting, sculpture?
Mostly painting.
It's painting, yeah. Have you painted already?
I'm starting to paint.
That's wonderful. All right. Kai, nice to have you with us today. I was telling people just a few moments ago about your other talents. What do you do in your spare time?
Oh, I usually play video games, and I enjoy reading.
And you enjoy reading. And I know that you're interested in being a lawyer. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. How'd you get interested in the law?
Well, it was the lawyer. I was always had like all these different things I wanted to do when I grew up. My mom was always telling me and my dad that we make a lot of money as lawyers because we enjoy arguing.
That's right. Yes, and if you win your arguments, so that's all to the good. So if you like that, if you can take someone else's case and be persuasive, then that's the direction to head. Nice to have you with us. Marianne, nice to have you here. Young lady, very musically inclined and talented, and you'd like to be a part-time musician someday, right? Mm-hmm. What would the other part-time be?
Well, I kind of want to be an author, or like I said, a mangaka. I want to play music sometimes. Yeah, I'm very devoted.
You've been playing the piano since you were a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you give recitals ever?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. And you do so many things in your spare time. And among all the things she told me she does is daydream. And I told her, boy, is that wise. You need to kind of just check out from the rest of the world once in a while and just think about what's going on and what you might want to do. And I think that's terrific, Marianne. And I hope you all have a good second round. You need some more points, right, Berwyn Heights? Let's get back to our game. Avalon 115. You're doing famously Avalon. Berwyn Heights 55. All the big points to give away. Still anybody's game. Start us out, Jonathan.
Daylight for 10.
Daylight for 10 points. Teams. Billionaire Bill Gates has recently donated hundreds of millions of dollars to conquer this crippling disease. Avalon? Polio, yes indeed. I was going to say that famously afflicted our president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and kept him in a wheelchair. Go Red.
Zuparade for 15.
Zuparade, 15 points. Teams, when President Obama gave his State of the Union address, he was joking. He said, the Interior Department controls these migrating fish when they're in the freshwater. Avalon?
Ducks?
Not ducks. Berwyn Heights, fish now, fish. The Interior Department controls these migrating fish when they're in freshwater. The Commerce Department controls them when they're in saltwater. And he says, I don't know who controls them when they get smoked.
Salmon.
Salmon, that's right. Yeah, that was one of his laugh lines in his State of the Union address. It was a good one. Go Green.
Let's get physical for 15.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Team's multiple choice question. In late December, one of the most visible constellations was Monoceros, which is the name of which of the following mythological animals? The sea goat, the winged horse, or the unicorn? Monoceros, Jonathan.
The unicorn?
The unicorn. Mono meaning one. That was your clue. That should have put some light bulbs going off in your head, as they did with you, Jonathan. Go.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems, 15 points. Teams, one of the most acclaimed movies this year is The King's Speech. King George VI famously had a difficult time speaking. He had a condition known as what? Avalon?
Bronchitis?
Not bronchitis, no. He couldn't speak. What's that condition known as, T-Day? King George VI, the King's Speech, had a difficult time speaking.
I'm going to take this to Marianne.
Sure, Marianne.
Lisp?
Not a lisp. That's a good try. He was a stutterer. He stuttered. Try again, please, Red.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15. That was a good guess, Marianne. Dateline for 15 points. Teams, a high-pressure system over this world's largest island that is covered with glaciers is thought to be responsible for our winter weather this year. Jonathan.
Greenland?
Greenland, yes. A strangely named island because it's not green at all. It should have been named Iceland. They got them confused. Go, Red.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, people are being arrested more and more because they're going outside and they're taking these intense, narrow beams of light and they're shining in them in the cockpits of airplanes. What are those lights called? Berwyn Heights. Yes, ma'am.
Laser.
Lasers, that's it. Good. Thank you, Kai, for your assist on that. Go green.
Green things for 15.
Green things, 15 points. Teams, recently the parsley fern, which was close to extinction, was saved from extinction because they were able to retrieve these tiny reproductive packets on the underside. Avalon?
Stigma?
Not stigma. Good try. What are the tiny reproductive packets found on the underside of fern leaves known as fronds? They sent them to England and they raised them in a greenhouse.
Spores.
Spores. Good answer. Nice comeback. Go. Green.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, fish love us because when we dump old ships and subway cars and oil derricks to the bottom of the sea, they turn into artificial forms of these coral-type structures. Avalon?
Reefs?
Reefs, that's right. Thank you, Jamisa. You helped out on that one. Go, Red.
Green things for 20.
Green things for?
20.
20 points. Here's the question, teams. Multiple choice question. Because they contain so much nutritious endosperm, it makes sense for us to eat nasturtium flowers, pumpkin seeds, or cinnamon bark. Which of those contains very nutritious endosperm? Avalon.
Pumpkin seeds?
You got that right. Pumpkin seeds, especially if they're salted. Boy, are they good. Endosperm is the little packet of nutrients that you find inside a seed so they can begin to grow. Go, Red.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Teams, what P, initial part of your mouth, if it is cleft, can lead to horrifying disfigurement in children with protruding teeth and split lips? Cleft what? Palate. Cleft palate. That's the P initial part I was looking for. Try again, Red.
Zuparate for 20.
Zuparate for 20 points. Teams, the only kind of infectious cancer ever found was found in these Australian marsupials with a satanic name. Avalon.
Tasmanian devil.
You got that right. Tasmanian devil has the satanic name. Good. Go. It infects their mouths because they're always biting each other. Go.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, your question is as follows. Back in 2009, the planet Jupiter was collided with a celestial body. We now think it was an asteroid, but back then we thought it was one of these dirty snowballs with a tail. Avalon.
Comet?
A comet, yeah, they thought it was a comet that collided with Jupiter, and now they have changed their opinions, astronomers have. All right, go, Red.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points, teams. It is a 16-kilowatt lithium-ion battery that is the power source for this GM car, this GM electric car, with what very appropriate name? Berwyn Heights, what's the name of that car?
Leaf.
Not Leaf. Oh, that's the Nissan Leaf. That's a good try. A more appropriate name is the GM car, known as the what, with this 16 kilowatt lithium-ion battery. Avalon. The Volt. The Volt is what it's called. Try again, red.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category, teams. Forget bomb-sniffing dogs. Now the TSA has a bomb-sniffing plant, a kind of plant that if it detects TNT, which is found in dynamite, it goes completely white as all of what green material disappears. Berwyn Heights.
I'm going to refer to Marianne.
Marianne. Lichens, not lichens, or lichens. What's the green material that drains out of the plant and makes it turn white, Jonathan?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll, that's it. All the chlorophyll disappears, and that lets the inspectors know that TNT, bomb-making material, is nearby. Go, red.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems, 25. Big one in that category, teams. When a woman recently received a brand new larynx, a transplanted larynx, she also got a brand new windpipe, which is also known as what T initial body part? Another name for the windpipe for 25 points, Avalon.
Trachea.
Yeah, it's the trachea. Good answer there, Jamisha. She knows her stuff today. Go, red.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade, 25 points. Come on, Berwyn Heights, let's get back in here. We got a picture for this one. You're going to see a trilobite. This is an extinct marine organism that is related to insects and crustaceans today. I'll give you 25 points if you can give me the name of the A-initialed phylum. Avalon.
Arthropods.
Arthropods is exactly right. Ariana, thank you, young lady. Good, go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical, 25 points. Teams, here's your question. There are different kinds of energy, like solar energy from the sun. Hydroelectric energy is from falling water. Nuclear energy from splitting atoms. What kind of energy? Avalon?
Radiation.
Not radiation. Berwyn Heights, what kind of energy is it that comes from the ground, provides heat and cooling, and we use it to heat and cool some of the schools here in Prince George's County? What's that kind of energy known as?
Geothermal.
You got that right, geothermal. Thank you, Marianne, for weighing in on that. Go, T-Day.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, your question is as follows. There are, in practically every science lab around the world, especially bacteriology labs, little plastic and glass dishes like this. What P-initial kind of dish is this, Berwyn Heights?
Petri dish.
It is a Petri dish. Thank you very much. Good. T and Kai and T-Day. One question left, 25. Dateline. Here it is, teams. Your question. What famed American patriot, who was also an inventor, was most proud of the fact that he invented a harmonica, but is better known for inventing bifocals and a stove? Who was he, Avalon?
Thomas Edison.
Not Thomas Edison. Good try. Invented bifocals and a stove, but was most proud that he invented a harmonica. Famed American patriot and inventor. Your last shot here, guys.
Paul Revere.
Good try. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, the Franklin stove. We've come to the end of our game. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did here in the studio. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back to Science Ball. Super performances today, just super students. We're proud of all 6 of them, and indeed, they and all of their alternates. Let's show you who's behind the scenes. Our final tally today is Berwyn Heights 150, Avalon 310. Avalon, you did it again. We're going to see you against Rockledge. Ariana and Jonathan and Jamisha, you should be smiling big because you did a super job today. And all back there, look at all the alternates. Garen and DeAndre and Jeremiah, Miss Boxley and Miss Alzate, congratulations. A super job for Avalon. You guys played a super game as well, Berwyn Heights. First time here, you really acquitted yourselves nicely. Let me see some smiles over there. Marianne and T-Day and Kai, you played a great game. And back there, Jordan and Erica and Mr. Goldstein, all wearing matching red. Look at that team spirit over there. We're proud of you guys, and we thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you next time on Science Bowl. Bye-bye now.